make sure the recording is on? Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for your patience while we get started. I'm happy to join you this morning. My name is Susan Yerkew, usually go by Sue. I am the new Executive Director of the Pacific County Economic Development Council, and I am joined today by Lisa Smith of Enterprise for Equity, and Carla Jensen of the Long Beach Merchants Association, who will be helping me with Q&A. We're here today to talk about the new grant that is available to businesses in Pacific County. We're calling it the Working Washington Business Emergency Grants 2.0. So if you see anything with WW 2.0, that's what we're talking about. Anyway, that's the presenters. We're going to be talking about the different parts of this program because we have the actual grants and then we have some specific programs available to Pacific County businesses that are sponsored by Pacific County EDC. So just to give you an idea of where this money comes from, this is actually federal CARES dollars, and the federal CARES dollars are distributed to the states, and the states fund the counties through the county offices of economic development. So that's where the money comes from. This is different money than the first round of grants that came through EDC, which was funded by Governor Inslee and the state of Washington. And what that means is these grants are different, different requirements and different application process. So if you applied for the first round of grants and you're interested in this one, you still have to reapply. The good news is it's a simpler process. So I want to talk for a minute about the 5 different ways that the EDC has found to support local businesses in this process. First of all, there are the business grants, which we'll talk about in detail in a minute. And then the Pacific County EDC is also sponsoring membership scholarships. We want to engage the business community in Pacific County through getting you involved in the EDC. And many businesses are really challenged to pay membership fees right now. So we have a fund set aside, also funded through CARES funding, different CARES funding. We're not taking away from the business grants program to do this, but this is money that was allocated for us to use at the EDC, and this is how we're using it. So you will have access to an application for free membership for a year in the Pacific County EDC, and we will give free memberships away until the funding runs out. This part here is a little confusing to some people, so I'll explain it a little further. Economic development organizations are also targeted to receive some grants, and what that means is that the merchants associations and the chambers and the Tourism Bureau of Pacific County are eligible for some funding, and we are required to give them some funding through this grant process. And then we are also really thrilled to be able to offer you some additional services, which Lisa will talk about through Enterprise for Equity, that includes some specifically developed workshops for our county and some business access to one-to-one business coaching for businesses who want to take a look at how they're doing business and how they might want to do it differently going forward. So I'm going to let Lisa take it from here. Tell me when you want to forward the slide.
Yeah, if you could forward it to the slide where we have our workshops, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone. I am really pleased to be here and honored to work with the EDC there in Pacific County. If you haven't already heard about Enterprise for Equity, we're a nonprofit that helps people with limited incomes and others, really anyone can come through our program, to walk them through the process of writing a business plan, and then we offer microloans. And we've been working along the coast for a number of months. But this particular project is really about helping Pacific County businesses navigate this pandemic and recovery, build your capacity to be agile and learn some tools and resources that are available to you, attend some workshops, and then receive some business coaching. And I don't know, Sue, are you going to talk about the specific workshops, or should I do that now?
Go ahead. Yeah, this is your time.
Great. So we wanted to offer 4 separate workshops that are exclusive to Pacific County businesses. And what we have learned from doing similar workshops around the Western Washington is that a significant number of businesses do not have an e-commerce platform, like a majority. And so we want to help the businesses in Pacific County get the tools they need to be able to do commerce online with their website. And so we'll look at a number of shopping cart platforms, and we'll look at different search engine optimization and ways you can just become more agile as a business. Another workshop that we'll be putting on is how to actually get your business online. Some businesses won't even want to do e-commerce, but some businesses don't even have an online presence. And now more than ever, when access to an in-person business is harder, getting your website online, getting your tools and your offerings, services, and business online is really critical. The third workshop that we're looking at is assessing your business. Where are you and where to go? This is unprecedented, economically challenging times. And we want to help businesses in Pacific County really understand where they are financially, where they are in their decision-making process, and help you, these businesses, figure out what your best strategy is right now, both now and over the harder months during the down season, but also how to be prepared for when businesses begin to open up. And the final one is really about business financials. What we know is that a lot of the businesses who wanted to apply for PPP loans or EIDL loans had to have their profit and loss statement, their business house in order, and many didn't. So what we want to do is offer a 4-part business financials program or workshop. And it is really good. It's just, we walk you simply through, for example, record keeping and keeping your financial records, developing your profit and loss statements, understanding what your balance sheet looks like. And once you have these, then you can see your profitability. You can understand what your cash flow projections are, and maybe even prepare for a microloan or a conventional loan. We know that when businesses have their accounting systems together, it helps to reduce stress. And when you don't have that kind of financial pressure, the stress of not knowing what's happening, you become more capable, more agile, and ready to go for that next phase of your business. So those are the 4 workshops we'll be offering, and exclusively to Pacific County businesses. And then we want to also just say thank you to Sue. This is an opportunity for us to be able to provide one-on-one counseling. And so what we know is that when a person has individual counseling, business counseling, one-on-one, it really helps to navigate those traps and snares that businesses go through. So there will be an application on our website. There'll be a specific timeline that you'll abide by. And when during that application, you'll identify your primary business goals and what you want to achieve. And then our coaches have been around forever. They've been coaching for businesses forever. But they'll hold you accountable to these goals and help you find resources, provide support, and really be your partner in getting through these different, very difficult challenges going forward. So those are the coaching sessions. You'll have, maybe you can miss one session and it can be rescheduled, but this is really timely service. So we will want to make sure anybody applying and receiving these will use all these coaching sessions. We offered this in a different county, and all 10 businesses took advantage of all 5 hours of counseling. So it's really pretty exciting. I am finished with what I wanted to share, and I'd be available for questions either now or later on. Thank you.
Yeah, just so all of you know, this workshop will be recorded and posted on the website I'm going to refer you to a little bit later on. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And thank you to Enterprise for Equity. One of the things about putting this program together, the WW 2.0 program, is that we have a very short window of time to create the programs and distribute the services and funds. You will see when you go to the Enterprise for Equity website that the schedule for classes and registration is not quite ready to be open, but that will be soon, and we will definitely let everyone know when that's ready. And these are programs that if we don't spend the money now, we won't get access to these funds later. And I want to again reach out and say thank you. The other thing about the workshop portion of this, and it looks like I didn't put up my slides about the workshops. I wanted to do that. But we have all of these workshops will be recorded and posted on the Enterprise for Equity website. So if for some reason you cannot attend the live broadcast, which is highly recommended because you can ask your questions while someone's online, but they will be recorded and accessible to Pacific County businesses for the next year. Tell all your friends, if you can't come now, maybe you can come later. Carla's helping me. Did I stop sharing?
It wasn't sharing.
Oh, sorry.
They're perfect.
I thought I was sharing, but I wasn't sharing.
It's all good. Don't worry. We're all kind of learning this. So yeah, here's the slide for individual business coaching.
Oh,
Great.
okay.
And
Okay, I'm going to go back through some slides again as soon as I figure out how to do that. All right.
oh, these are
So
great.
we were here.
Yep.
And then we have the assessing your business. These will all be posted after they're recorded for a year. The business financials, e-commerce, again, something we should all be taking a look at, whether or not you're ready to do it right now. The more you know about it, even if you choose not to do it, you will understand what your competition is going to be doing. And here's a lovely picture from Michelle that she doesn't know she let me use. And the individual business coaching, again, we're going to provide for 10 businesses that are ready to commit to some one-to-one business coaching. The value of this, if you had to pay for it, Lisa, what would the value of this be?
Oh, it's really expensive. Some coaches charge $250 an hour, and the beautiful thing is that you can do this at your own pace. So you could do one a week for a month, or one every other week. But you work with the coach, your schedule and your goals and your priorities, and they're there to help you, but also coach you and hold you accountable to your goals in a way that's really going to be serving you.
Can I speak on this real quick?
Yeah, go for it. Carla's.
I am an Enterprise for Equity person. I went through their program, and the one-on-one coaching is priceless. What you get from, well, what I got from doing their entire program, I did the business program, was an understanding of my business that I'd never had before. So, and a way to look at numbers that I didn't know how. And I feel more equipped as a business owner today because of what I learned from Enterprise for Equity.
Yeah, and thank you, Carla. What is really at the core of doing these coaching sessions and going through these workshops is really building a personal, leader kind of awareness of what you're good at, what you're doing well at, and being open to coaching on the things that you need support with. And those who are coachable and ready to go and open to learning new things, there is nothing you can't achieve in your business, really. So we're just really excited to do this. You can explore other programs that are on our website for the future. I do want you to know that we are going through a brand transition. So the brand logo that you see on these slides are almost, we're going to be launching soon our own new website. So if you see an E or another kind of logo, don't worry. We're just in the middle of our own transition. So yeah, I don't know if you want to keep going on your slides.
Well, Carla, do you have any questions? But it looks like somebody posted a question before we move on.
The statement was just 10 applicants are chosen for coaching, question mark. This is a great opportunity.
Yes. Yes, it is great. Thank you again, Lisa. And if you have more questions about either the workshops or the coaching program, very soon we will have information posted on the Enterprise for Equity website, and you can also send questions to us. And there is a dedicated website for this program with a Q&A, and we'll answer all your questions there if they're not already answered. So thanks, Lisa, and I so appreciate you doing this and being here today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
One question is, do you apply for the coaching separately, or is it just a part of the grant?
The coaching application will be separate. All of these programs are separate. You may choose to do one or more pieces of it. I'll review that again when we get to the end as far as the specific details about how to apply through Enterprise for Equity. Do you have any additions, or should we just update people going forward, Lisa?
No, I would just say that just apply online. The questions are pretty thorough, but very answerable. And our dream is to work with everybody who applies, but we will go as far as we can with at least 10. So we're looking forward to working with you.
Thanks again. And again, we'll answer questions going forward too. So the next session is, and this is live now, and this is separate from the other application. There is currently an application for you to get a scholarship for membership in the Pacific County Economic Development Council. And economic development councils work to bring prosperity to the county. And that means that if we're doing a great job, all of our businesses are doing well, our communities are doing well because we're helping to support successful transportation and preserving resources and making great trails and schools and supporting new businesses that we want to come here. So your voice is needed. We would really love to see the membership swell with more small businesses. We are very grateful for the engagement and participation of all the public members and the ports and the larger businesses in Pacific County. They're very engaged, and they've been doing great projects like, for example, the Broadband Working Group, where we're trying to make sure that we have great quality internet for all of the homes and businesses in Pacific County. But we could use you as well. We need you. So please apply for this. This is also sponsored by EDC with funding from CARES. And if you don't use this, it goes away. So that form is open now. So now let's get to the part you probably tuned in for. I wanted to cover the other things first so that you would actually listen before we started talking about the grants portion. So Pacific County has received an allocation of $126,814. I cannot tell you how they come up with that amount. And we will be typically awarding grants in increments of $2,500, $5,000, or $10,000. So we do have some priorities established on this funding. And this can be a little bit confusing, but hopefully not too much. We are required to award some money specifically for those economic development focused nonprofits, like the Chambers of Commerce, the Merchants Associations, and the Tourism Bureau in Pacific County. And this is great because they're likely not going to be eligible for much other funding, and they have lost most, you know, a huge amount of their revenue as a result of the incidence of COVID. So this is great because that builds them to be able to build for your future. And these are the organizations that many of you volunteer for. So you'll get some funding. There's a specific allocation in our $126,000 of 25% for those, that's this right here, for those nonprofits. Community-based nonprofits that are service organizations are not eligible for this grant. However, this is a good time for me to tell all of you that Pacific County is also going to be opening up a new grant process probably within the next week or so. That is different from this one. Many of you will be eligible for both of them, so I encourage you to apply for both. And community service-based nonprofits will be eligible to apply for that grant. And we expect some other funding to come for nonprofits as well. 25% of this funding, we are required to make our best attempt to prioritize women-owned businesses, tribal-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and minority-owned businesses. So that leaves 50% for us to do discretionary awards. So this comes out to about, this part here, the two portions together, comes out to about $95,000 that we'll be awarding. And this part will go to the 25%, which is about $31,000, will go to the merchants, the Tourism Bureau, and the chambers. The eligibility criteria is pretty simple for this. It has a lot of little detail bullets, but they're pretty simple. Are you authorized to conduct business in Washington for at least 6 months? For those of you that applied for the first round of funding under the Working Washington grants, that was a 1-year requirement. We had discretion this time. So for those of you businesses that haven't been open as long, you have to have had only 6 months in business prior to March 1st. Applicants have to self-attest to any funding they have received. That means you have to put into the application, yes, here's where I got funding before so far. And you have to document funding you have applied for and expect to be awarded. In order to keep this process simple, because there's another grant process opening up in about a week, I suggest you apply for this one this week. Because if you wait until next week, then you're going to have to, it's going to be very confusing to say, well, how do I know if I'm going to get awarded for that money? But just do the best you can, and I wouldn't stress it. Verify that the business has not been debarred by the federal government. I don't think we have any that have. Verify that the business is licensed and has a UBI number. If you don't know your UBI number, the application actually has a link for you to find your UBI number. You have to say whether or not you received funding under the first round of Working Washington grants. You must answer the question regarding OMWBE certification, whether or not you're a veteran or minority-owned business. And there's an area to optionally identify your race and ethnicity. This is the important part. If you did receive more than $5,000 in the first round of funding from Working Washington 1, or if you received more than $5,000 of funding from Pacific County, you will not be eligible to apply for this grant. If you received between $0 and $5,000, you are eligible. And in the first round of grants, you had to have fewer than 10 employees. For this grant, it is 20 employees. So you can be a little bit of a larger business and still be eligible for this grant. Again, the grant amounts will typically be in increments of $2,500, $5,000, or $10,000, which is the maximum grant you can apply for. And just to clarify, these grants are for any loss you received to your business revenue as a result of the incidence of COVID-19. And so that could mean I had to lay off an employee, or, you know, this was a revenue that I didn't get into my business that I did the year before. So if you give me money, I'm going to rehire an employee, but it also could be, I just didn't make as much money this year. It could be all kinds of things. This is not terribly restricted like the Working Washington 1, and you will not be required to submit receipts. So here's the dates to remember. The grant application opens today, and it's open until October 2nd. Then it's going to go into review, and if we completely keep to our schedule, which we hope to, the grant will be announced, and the award letters will go out on the 21st of October. This is a short process because, again, we are required to disperse these funds as quickly as possible to businesses in need. Okay, there are a number of links that these will be available on our grant website, as well as most of them are in the application themselves. But I wanted to put them here. And Carla, maybe you could copy them and put them in the chat so people can have them as well. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Are sole proprietors allowed to apply for loss of revenue?
Yes. Short answer. Yeah, and in the application, you want to count yourself, if you are a sole proprietor, as a one person having one employee. If it's like a husband and wife owning a small business, you would put 2. It's just kind of how the definition works. And what you're going to find in the application, which I'll show you in a minute, is there are a number of attestations. And that just means I certify that, yes, I lost money. Click. I certify I'm legal to run a business in Washington. Click. I certify that the federal government has not debarred me. Click. And so that's what you have to do. Essentially, instead of us checking to make sure that you are truthfully expressing your losses in this application process, you are just attesting. So if you say I lost money, you want to have some sort of paperwork in your own record keeping, so that if you ever get audited, which is very unlikely, that you can have some sort of documentation that this is why I qualified for this grant, but we're not going to ask you for it. Oh, okay. Carla's helping me. Okay, we'll do it another way. We'll do it another way. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this for a minute and go to the website. Okay, so this webinar will be posted here as well. But right now, this is our little website that describes each of the programs we'll be offering, the eligibility criteria, the important dates to remember, and then there's a link to the application right on the website. There's also an FAQ over here, and any questions that you submit that we don't have, we'll, I'm not sharing again? Okay. Well, it would be really good if I was sharing. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here because I keep thinking I'm sharing and I'm not. There we go.
Beautiful.
Okay. So I'll do it again. All right. So we have a little website. It's describing all the things. And again, when we get the specific information on the workshops, you should just be able to link from this website and the coaching. The membership application is currently live. I'll show you that for a minute. Super simple. It's probably not going to share again. I don't know. Am I sharing? Okay. So it's just a little online application, real simple, contact information. Have you been a member before and how many employees do you have? So let's go back over here. And by the way, on the economic development nonprofits, I am meeting with all of them as a group, and we're collaborating on how to distribute the funds that are available to them. So we want to have a really transparent process and make sure that we make these dollars stretch as far as they can. So here's the dates, all of the things on the little website. And again, here's the FAQ. Am I still sharing? Yes, good. Okay, and if you have questions we don't answer today, we will put in this FAQ as well as this recorded website. And then you can link from this is now open. You can link to the application for the grant right here. And it is not a difficult application. Again, very simple, your contact information. If you don't know your UBI number, you can look it up right here in the application. Simple application. Describe your company. Here's basically the grant. How would you use the money? Describe how it would help your business or not help your business if you don't get the funding? And do you have any other comments? Very simple. And then down below that are these little attestations. That's what this is, where you say, I certify my business has been negatively affected. Yes, no, etc. So, and then you will have to provide a W-9. If you don't have one, again, you can get one here. So we've tried to make it super simple for you to get in on this. And we're trying to get verification, but it looks like this money might be taxable income if you get awarded. So that's another thing you probably want to know. Okay, so I'm going to stop this share and go back to this. Okay, so the Department of Commerce can tell you more if you would like about the source of the revenue, where it comes from, how it's distributed, and then there's a link on their site to all of the county, we call them ADOs, which are the Economic Development Organizations, and you will link directly to Pacific County. And there's also a link to the new grant webpage on our homepage at pacificcountyedc.org. And I think that covers those. Do we have any questions? All right, besides myself, we have a wonderful person who is contracted with EDC to help to support the grant process right now. Her name is Courtney Hagane, and she lives in Raymond, Washington. She will be available in afternoons. So if you send an email or leave a phone message, expect an afternoon callback. She's wonderful to work with, and she will be assisting all of you with any questions you have or any problems with the process. So that's pretty much what I have. Carla or Lisa, do you have anything to add, or do we have any questions waiting in the queue?
I have a question. It's really of your participants, and I'm just curious how we can get the word out to communities of color or people where they may not have heard about this webinar, or they may not be as connected with local chambers or convention partners. I'm just curious how we can support the outreach of this material and information.
I think it's a great question. I do believe that we have a much greater than average of small businesses owned by women in Pacific County. It's something that I really want to find a way for us to pay attention to and track. And I hope that all of you who are on this webinar today will help us distribute information about all the aspects of this program. And again, I'll review them before we end today. We have specific funding allocated to economic development, nonprofit organizations like chambers and merchants associations and the Tourism Bureau. Then we also have funding specifically for workshops that will be provided to Pacific County businesses, sponsored by EDC. The schedule for those will be announced shortly, and those will be available to our businesses for the next year through Enterprise for Equity. We have access to one-to-one business coaching program, also through Enterprise for Equity, for as many businesses as we can. Hopefully at least 10 businesses will receive 5 sessions of coaching. We have an application available for a scholarship for membership in Pacific County EDC for a year, for the year 2021. And we also have the small business grants, which will be awarded in the amounts of $2,500, $5,000, or $10,000, which is the maximum, unless we have a strange number of dollars left over because of our 126,814 amount that we have to distribute. So yeah, if there's not any more questions, I guess we will end it here, and I look forward to seeing all your applications. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Take care. Good luck.
You're muted.
Bonnie did say for answering Lisa, nonprofit organizations hit specified audiences, coverage in newspaper, Facebook groups such as Women in Business and Chambers.
Perfect. Very helpful.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great Monday.
Excellent. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye.